suck. Well, hello, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, and Menasong. Hello, degen author and professional multiverse wizard specializing in world building and Waifusmith. Now, floating by my shoulder is Grammar. Yes, succubus is always open to gamer acolytes, but the milking session is for after the stream because right now it's time for studying on a Friday night because, of course, what is the best time to study than on a fucking Friday night? Yes, I am the fucking biggest nerd on this shit. Okay, starting the music. Now, hello Crane VT. Welcome. kind of a interesting first stream you're gonna have. I don't usually do much of a study streams, but I hope you'll be entertained at least until you go on your own stream, because I think I see you're gonna do a collab soon. Anyway, yes, this is going to be a quiet, chill study. Now, hello Cody, welcome. I see you wiggling, I see you happy. Hello Tommy Pumper. Hello Newe. Thank you for the suck, Newe. I appreciate it. We all need a good suck on a Friday night. Study buddies. Yes, at least there's that. Nothing better than a good buddy to help you out on your nerdy times. It's been a while since I've actually done this stream, so I remember we stopped here. I did make this note over here, but I don't remember what we were talking about. So, what was even this chapter? Oh, that was already the beginning of this chapter. Okay. Let's see how it looks. Pages are a bit. Just this thing can go over here. Oh, it doesn't show on stream. There's a thing over here that doesn't show. Like log on. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, this is fine. I guess I can see. Yeah, I can read it on my OBS. I can read the words on my OBS, so it shouldn't be too hard for you guys to read. Oh, actually, let me open on my second monitor here over here to see how it looks. Yeah, a bit tiny. The words are a bit tiny, but I guess people aren't exactly gonna be reading. They're gonna just be listening to me instead of reading along. But anyway, let's just start the chapter from the beginning, so we have the context. Those who have attained a principality through crimes. Oh, I forgot to grab water. 1 minute. Let me grab a cup of water so I can drink all after talk. Alright, I'm back. I hope the music is hearable, understandable. Can I actually check on my own stream how it sounds like? It's been a while since I did it. It feels like it's too low, the music. There we go. Now I should actually be able to hear it. Let me check something. Do I have auto-publish VODs? I do not have auto-publish VODs, so I can check. Once I do a clip. Oh, let me check, just in case, because it's been a while since I do this. I'm not confident on my audio lens. For the people who don't know, I do this, I am an actual writer, literally a writer. So I do these things because I do this book study because I want to learn more about things that could help me in my writing skills. So this is why I chose The Prince. it is the book about politics, medieval politics, which is very pertinent to my writing, since I am a fantasy writer. And as you know, fantasy only exists on medieval time zone. Time zone, medieval time period. So it is the perfect book to start. But there's a lot of information about it that I can just pass through. Anyway, let me just make a clip so I can listen to my own audio. And I'm gonna mute the music and the ring for a second. Just one moment. About... Okay. Seems like I can increase just a tiny bit. There we go. There we go. Now should be a little bit hearable. Let me just check one more time. And muting again. Sorry about this. I should have checked before the stream. I forgot, actually. I forgot I needed a soundtrack, otherwise it would be completely silent. There's the clip button. There's over here. Yeah, it sounds nice now. It sounds very nice. Perfect. Okay, so let's actually start reading. Of those who have attained a principality through crimes. But because one becomes prince from private individual also by two modes which cannot be altogether attributed either to fortune or to virtue, I do not think they should be left out. Although one then can be reasoned about more amply where republics are treated. These are when one ascends to a principality by some criminal and nefarious path, or when a private citizen becomes prince of his fatherland by the support of his fellow citizens. And, speak of the first... Oh, there's a few, what do you call it, bugs with this PDF. It's missing a few sentences over here. It's not anything special. Just annoying. I don't remember what I did if I found the actual sources of these. What do you call it? The actual test that's missing from right here, but I don't think it was anything important. It's just the beginning. Although we tell them to realize merit of the use because the judge is sufficient would find whatever, yeah. No point in trying to decipher what was missing. Agathocles the Sicilian became king of Syracuse not only from private fortune, but from a mean and abject one. Born of a panther, he always kept you alive. More missing text. Rank of his hire. Nonetheless, his crimes were accompanied with such virtue of spirit and body that when he turned to the military, he rose through its ranks to become praetor of Syracuse. After he was establishing that rank, he decided to become prince and to hold with violence and without obligation to anyone else that which had been conceded to him by agreement. Having given intelligence of his plan to Hamilcar the Carthaginian, who was with his armies fighting in Sicily, one morning he assembled the people and senate of Syracuse as if he had to decide things pertinent to the republic. The signal he had ordered, he had all the senators and riches of the people killed by his soldiers. This feels like it's something out of a drama. This feels like it's something out of like a history book. Gather everyone and then kill them. Gather all senators and the richest people and kill them. Once they were dead, he seized and held the principate of that city without any civil controversy. And although he was defeated twice by the Carthaginians and in the end besieged, not only was he able to defend his city, but also leaving part of his men for defense against the siege. He attacked Africa with the others. In a short time, he freed Syracuse from the siege and brought the Carthaginians to dire necessity. They were compelled of necessity to come to an agreement with him, to be content with the possession of Africa, and to leave Sicily to Agathocles. Thus, whoever might consider the actions and virtues of this man will see nothing of little that can be attributed to fortune. For as was said above, not through anyone's support, but through the ranks of the military, which he had gained for himself with 1,000 hardships and dangers, he came to the Principate, and afterwards he maintained it with many spirited and dangerous policy. Yet one cannot call it virtue to kill one's citizens, betray one's friends, to be without faith, without mercy, without religion. These modes can enable one to acquire empire, but not glory. For if one considers the virtue of Agathocles in entering into and escaping from dangers, and the greatness of his spirit in enduring and overcoming adversities, one does not see why he has to be judged inferior to any most excellent captain. Nonetheless, savage cruelty and inhumanity, together with his infinite crimes, do not permit him to be celebrated among the most excellent men. Thus, one cannot attribute to fortune or to virtue what he achieved without either. In our okay, I think that was the last. That was the everything that we read in this of this chapter in last stream. Basically saying that the Agathocles is a bastard. He's saying he's a bastard, but he was a successful bastard. He was a successful bastard. He's not gonna be a noble person, remember, with glory, but he achieved everything he wanted. And at some point you gotta ask, isn't that everything that matters? Religion, morals, friendships, they all get in the way of true power, of achieving your goals. What's the point of being like that? You have a lot more trouble succeeding if you hold any of these things dear to you. In our times, oh yes, thus one cannot attribute to fortune or to virtue what he achieved without either. Yes, he was not lucky, and he was not virtuous. He was not a good person, yet he achieved everything he could, everything he wanted. I think in Machiavelli's time, people were a lot more religious, so virtue and fortune are actually very important because they're superstitious. Of course, they're religious, so of course they're gonna put a lot of focus on that. That even if you are a fucking bastard like Agathocles, you can still succeed. Now moving on, in our times, during the reign of Alexander VI Liverotto da Fermo, having been left a fatherless child some years before, was brought up by the maternal uncle of his, called Giovanni Fogliani, and in the I guess it's not important. In the first of whatever he was sent out to soldier under Paolo Vitelli, so that when he was versed in the discipline, he would attain an excellent rank in the military. Then, when Paolo died, he fought under Vitellozzo, his brother. In a very short time, since he was ingenious and dashing in person and spirit, he became the first man in his military. But, as it appeared to him servile to be at the level of others, he thought that with the aid of certain citizens of Fermo, to whom servitude was dearer than the liberty of their fatherland, and with support from the Vitelli, he would seize Fermo. He wrote to Giovanni Fogliani that since he had been away from home a few years, he wanted to come to see him in his city, and in some part to acknowledge his patrimony. And because he had not troubled himself for anything but to acquire honor, he wanted to come in honorable fashion, accompanied by 100 horsemen of his friends and servants, so that his citizens might see that he had not spent time in vain. He begged Giovanni to please order that he be received honorably by the inhabitants of Fermo, which would direct honor not only to him, but to Giovanni himself, since Liverotto was his ward. Thereupon, Giovanni did not fail in any proper duty to his nephew, and when Liverotto had been honorably received by the inhabitants of Fermo, he was lodged in Giovanni's house. There, after a few days had passed, and after he had waited to order secretly what was necessary for his future crime, he held a most solemn banquet, in which he invited Giovanni Fogliani, and now the first man of Fermo. And when the food and all other entertainments customary at such banquet has been enjoyed, Liverotto, with cunning, opened certain grave discussion, speaking of the greatness of Pope Alexander and of Cesare Borgia. Okay, this started boring, but now it's starting to get a bit spicy. His son, and of their undertakings, while Giovanni and the others were responding to these discussions, Liverotto at a stroke stood up, saying that these were things that should be spoken of in a more secret place, and he withdrew to a room into which Giovanni and all the other citizens came behind him. No sooner were they seated than soldiers came out of secret places and killed Giovanni and all the others. After this homicide, Liverotto, mounted on horse, rode through the town and besieged the highest magistracy in the palace, so that through fear they were compelled to obey him and to establish a government of which he was made prince. And since all those who could have hurt him because they were malcontent were dead, he strengthened himself with new civil and military orders, so that in the period of 1 year that he held the principality, he was not only secure in the city of Fermo, but had become fearsome to all his neighbors. And to overthrow him would have been as difficult to overthrow Agathocles if he had not permitted himself to be deceived by Cesare Borgia when at Sinigaglia. As was said above, he took the Orsini and the Vitelli. There, Liverotto too was taken. 1 year after the patricide he committed, and together with Vitellozzo, who had been his master in his virtues and crimes, he was strangled. Oh shit, okay, now this is some Game of Thrones shit. This is some Game of Thrones shit. Liverotto da Fermo. Giovanni, okay, Liverotto, the child, is the adopted child of Giovanni Pogliani. And he served under Paolo Vitelli. I don't think Paolo Vitelli is in... Yeah, Paolo died. So when Paolo died, he fought under his brother, Vitellozzo. Okay, Vitellozzo is brother. I think maybe he's not blood brother, and maybe he's the actual child of Giovanni. But the periods, certain cities to whom servitude was due, and liberty of the family, support from the Vitelli. He was seeds Ferno. Okay, so he wrote to his adoptive father that he wanted a big party in his honor. Okay. Liverotto, yes, Liverotto. Proper duty to his nephew. And all the first men of Fermo, okay. So he did the same thing as Agathocles. He gathered everyone that's powerful in Fermo, including his own adoptive father, and killed everyone. And then he grabbed the people that were left, the soldiers that were left, and besieged the magistrate, the seat of government, the power, so that they would obey him. But Cesare Borgia was another cunning fox we had seen in other. I remember this name. We had read about him a lot. He was kind of like almost the perfect schemer who almost secured everything, but I kind of forgot why he failed. Oh yes, his father, Cesare Borgia's father, was the Pope. But he died. But the Pope died before Cesare had his plan, so Cesare ended up failing. But he got deceived by Liverotto, the father killer. Got deceived by got captured by Cesare, and then he was strangled, or choked, or hanged to death, executed. Someone could question how it happened that Agathocles and anyone lacking Art Infinite, missing text, cruelties, could live for a long time secure in his fatherland, defend himself against external enemies, and never be conspired against by his system, inasmuch as many others have not been able to maintain their states through cruelty, even in peaceful times, not to mention uncertain times of war. I believe that this comes from the cruelties badly used or well used. Those can be well used if you can use, well used to speak of the devil. I think I'm making an assumption about the text I was missing. God damn, this PDF is trash. That are done at a stroke, out of the necessity to secure oneself, and then are not persisting, but are turned to as much utility for subjects as one can. Those cruelties are badly used, which, though few in the beginning, rather grow with time than are limited. Those who observe the first mode can have some remedy for their state with God and with man, as had Agathocles. As for the other, it is impossible for them to maintain themselves. Okay, this is this quote I kind of remember. He's talking about if you use cruelty, you can't make this into a continuous tool. It is something that you use sparingly, because as he was saying, where's the quote? Is that quote? Those who observe the first mode, yeah, when you use cruelty sparingly, the people can have some hope that things will get better with time. You just use the cruelties to purge the people in power, so you can keep a good grip. The cruelties are only limited and only in the special occasions. But if you keep using cruelty as an average tool, people will actually grow restless because they want to revolt. They want the cruelties to stop, definitely. So use cruelty sparingly. Otherwise, you're just keeping the people more willing to revolt against you. Now, moving on. Hence, it should be noted that in taking hold of a state, he who seizes it should review all the offenses necessary for him to commit, and do them all at a stroke, so as not to have to renew them every day, and, by not renewing them, to secure man and gain them for himself with benefits. Sorry about yawn. It's been a while since I yawned. How many yawns do I have? 124 times, okay. Been a while since I last had to yawn. Not sure why. I think I haven't been reading a lot. It's always when I'm reading for a long time that I yawn. You will see this is whoever does otherwise, either through timidity or through bad counsel, is always under necessity to hold a knife in his hand. Nor can one ever found himself on his subject if, because of fresh and continued injuries, they cannot be secure against him. For injuries must be done altogether, so that being tasted less, they offend less, and benefits missing tax by little, so that they may be tasted better. And above all, a prince should live with his subjects, so that no single accident, whether bad or good, has to make him change. For when necessity comes in adverse times, you'll not be in time for evil. Another yawn. And the good that you do does not help you, because it is judged to be forced on you, and cannot bring you any gratitude. Okay, yes, basically repeating a summary of what I said, but in more antiquated words, because this book is old. I think it's 90s. This book is from the 90s, 98? What page am I? 67. This book is from 1998. Okay, yes, very old. So it has some difficult words. Now, anything new that I haven't said? Oh yes! He who seizes it should review all the offenses necessary for him to commit and do them all at a stroke. So you need a plan. Once you take power, you need a plan. You need to know exactly who you need to kill, so you do it all at once, because that's gonna cause pain, that's gonna cause chaos. And it's better to pull the tooth at once than little by little. So it's over in 1 second. Otherwise, you're gonna make your subjects to feel more insecure. You're gonna make your subjects fear for their safety. And if you, where is the quote? always under the necessity to hold a knife in his hand, if you're always holding the knife in your hand, no one will find themselves safe near you, even your subjects, because of the continued fresh injuries you're causing upon them. But I think that's pretty much it for this chapter. Now, of the civil principality. Wait. Yeah, this is part of something that he said before. That the prince should live among his people so it's easier. So you have an eye. So the people know you and you're always watching the people. And they don't feel like more willing to revolt. They feel like they kind of forgot the exact reasons why you should live among the people you conquer. But one of them is control. One of them is that the malcontents, the people who are the people are likely to revolt you. They feel more timid since you're nearby, and you can more easily deal with the problems that may arise from your new conquest. And this is basically what this book is about. Dealing with your new conquest. Because theoretically at the time, everyone should be always continuing expanding and conquering. So it's not like it's a book about dealing with a peaceful government you inherited or things like that. It's only for the rough times you might have whenever you try to conquer something. Now, moving on, of the civil principality, but coming to the other policy, when a private citizen becomes prince of his fatherland, not through crime or other intolerable violence, but with the support of his fellow citizens, which cut them even more missing text. How much missing text do I have? More missing text. Missing text. Why is it missing? Missing text. Missing text, missing text, missing text, missing text, missing text. God fucking damn it. Can I grab another PDF that doesn't have this much missing text? This is annoying. Let me go. Let me quickly search. The Prince Machiavelli, 2nd edition, Harvey. WordPress, 985. Buy this book, no. I guess it's the same. Oh no, this seems to be kind of different, this PDF bingo. Okay. Page 67. 67. No, it's the same. God damn it, why? They're missing words. Problem is if we bring a new one in Google Preview. No. The problem if you grab a new The Prince book from someone else, it's gonna be different. You know what? Let's see if there's a random book on the internet that's a bit better than this one. What was the chapter that we were on? 9 of the Civil Principality. Okay. Let's see a random PDF on the internet. How it looks. Chapter 7, 8. Where's 9? Concerning a constitutional principality. Okay, this PDF seems to be slightly more, what do you call it? Modern. But it also has less words on it, I think. It's adapted. Gotta go over here on my menu. Where's my stuff? Where's my folders? There we go. Chapter 3. It has a smaller word, so might be a bit annoying. Chapter 9, concerning a constitutional principality. Okay. Could I increase? I should. Why you like this now? Oh yes, I need to widen you. That's fine. Slightly. And now slightly. With it. I'm gonna zoom in. There's screen real estate that's not being used properly, so let's just zoom in. Like, why is there only 2 zoom levels? God damn it. There we go. Oh, this is too big now, even for my screen. Six. 7. 8. Okay, this seems nice. Very nice. Very, very nice. Oh wait, now it looks odd on the screen, okay. I guess it'll be fine. Yeah, I guess it'll be fine. It's better for the width instead of covering the whole height of the screen. It's better to just have some good width. Okay. Now, chapter 9 concerning a constitutional principality. But coming to the other point, where a leading citizen becomes the prince of his country, not by wickedness, wickedness. Wickedness or violence, but by the favor of his fellow citizens. This may be called a constitutional principality. Genius or fortune are not needed to attain it, but rather a fortunate cleverness. Such a principality is obtained either by the favor of the people or by the favor of the noble. Because in all cities these 2 distinct parties are found. The people do not wish to be ruled or oppressed by the nobles, and the nobles wish to rule and oppress the people. From those 2 opposite desires there are 3 possible results: a principality, self-government, or disorder. Okay, I kinda glossed over the beginning. I did not process. I just need to quickly reread this. Fortunate cleverness. Principality is created either by the people or by the nobles, depending on who has the opportunity. The nobles, seeing they cannot overcome the people, begin to push one of their own people forward, and they make him a prince, so that under his shadow they can achieve their ambition. The people, finding they cannot resist the nobles, also cry up the reputation of one of themselves, and make him a prince so as to be defended by his authority. He who obtains the principality by the assistance of the noble maintains himself more difficult than he who comes to it by the aid of the people. This is because the former find himself with many around him who consider themselves his equals. Because of this, he can neither rule nor manage them to his liking. But he who gains the principality by popular favor finds himself alone, and none around him, or few, who are not prepared to obey him. Yes, this is a thing that he talked about before, that a prince needs to be isolated, not isolated, but he needs to be unique. Like on a government, on a country or principality where there's only a few princes, a family of princes, it's easy to control because family is less responsible. If you have in a place like as he used the example, France, where there's multiple noble lineages, if you kill a noble, there's another noble that can replace them. So having equals, having people that can compete with you is actually bad. You do not want competition if you want a stable territory. But each type has its own pros and cons. The multiple noble lineages and the only singular royal family as a government. These are two different types of countries, and they have their pros and cons. Now, beyond, besides this, one cannot by fair dealing and without injury to others satisfy the nobles, but you can satisfy the people, for the goals are more proper than those of the nobles. The nobles wish to oppress, while the people only desire not to be oppressed. A prince can never secure himself against a hostile people, because they are too many. On the other hand, he can secure himself from the nobles, as they are few in numbers. The worst that a prince may expect from a hostile people is to be abandoned by them. However, from hostile nobles he has not only to fear abandonment, but also that they rise against him, for they, being affairs more fair-seeing and clever, always come forward in time to save themselves, and to obtain favors from him whom they expect to win. Furthermore, the prince must always live with the same people, for he can do well without the same nobles. He can make and unmake them daily, and give or take away their authority whenever he pleases. Yeah. This is also another thing that I add in my stories, that the people are a lot more dangerous. No, wait, no. He didn't say the people are dangerous. He can secure us. A priest can never secure his nobles, which yes, can never secure people because they are too many. The worst that a prince may expect from a hostile people is to be abandoned by them. That's not the worst you can expect. You can expect the worst to be that they revolt. I don't exactly understand why this was translated this way. Okay. But still, I get what he means. The people are a lot more easier to please. They have less ambitions and they have less power. So, vote on the people, actually. Vote on the people. Acquire the favor of the people. All the nobles, they have the power. They are similar. They are your equals. They can make and unmake you. And they can likely be as what do you call? As ambitious as the nobles themselves. No, they can be. The nobles can be as ambitious as you. The less competition means better. Therefore, to make this point clear, I say that the nobles ought to be looked at mainly in two ways. That is to say, they either shape their course in such a way as binds them entirely to your fortune, or they do not. Those who so bind themselves are not greedy ought to be respected and loved. Those who do not bind themselves may be dealt with in two ways. They may fail to do this through cowardice and a natural lack of courage. In this case, you ought to make use of them, especially those who give good advice. Thus, while in good times you honor them, in difficult times you do not have to fear them. When for their own ambitious ends they avoid binding themselves, it is a sign that they are giving more thought to themselves than to you, A prince ought to guard himself against such people, and ought to fear them as if they were open enemies, because in difficult times they always help you. You're welcome, another yawn. I did not miss yawning. I did not miss yawning like this. God, it's annoying because it keeps straining my muscles, my mouth muscles. It keeps straining my mouth muscle. Now. Okay, this was the paragraph. Can you see my mouth? Yes, you can see my mouth. Is to say, the art that shaped their course in such a way as binds them entirely to your fortune, or they do not. Okay. Yes, either the noble becomes your vassal, and the noble becomes submissive to you, or they are liability, or they are danger. I guess this passage can be interpreted in this way. Those who do not bind themselves may be dealt with in two ways. They may fail to do this through cowardice and a natural lack of courage. God, another yawn. In this case, you ought to make use of them, especially those who give good advice. Those who do not bind themselves may be dealt with in two ways. They may fail to do this through cowardice and a natural... Okay, if the cowards that do not become submissive to you give advice, then they may actually be useful. While in good times you honor them, in difficult times you do not have to fear them. But when for their own ambitious ends they avoid binding themselves, it is a sign that they are giving more thought to themselves than you. Okay, if they appear to be, what you call it, ambitious, you need to be very, very careful about them. Because yes, that is exactly the one thing that is dangerous to you. Ambition and competition. They're ambitious, that means they're competition. A prince ought to guard himself against such people, and ought to fear them as if they were open enemies, because in difficult times they always have to ruin you. Now that is savage passage. Therefore, one who becomes a prince through the favor of the people ought to keep them friendly. Can easily do this because they only ask not to be oppressed by him. One who without the support of the people becomes a prince by the favor of the nobles, ought above everything to seek to win the people over to himself. He may easily do this if he takes them under their protection, because men, when they receive good from him of whom they were expecting evil, are bound more closely to their protector. Thus the people quickly become more devoted to him than if he had been raised to the principality through their support. The prince can win their support in many ways, but as these vary according to the circumstances, one cannot give fixed rules, and so I omit them. But, I repeat, it is necessary for a prince to have the people friendly, otherwise he has no security in difficult times. Yeah, the people are the only thing that's stable? No. Are the only thing that's reliable. Nobles are not reliable unless they are like vassals, or sworn, or they have tied. How did he put it? They have bind themselves entirely to your fortune. They do not do that, then these nobles are completely unreliable. Not completely, but still. So you need the power of the people as your one base for stability of your power. Nabis, prince of the Spartans, defended his country and his government against the attack of all Greece and of victorious Roman army. To overcome this danger, it was only necessary for him to make himself secure against the field, but thus would not have been sufficient if the people had been hostile. And do not let anyone attack this statement with the old saying that he who builds on the people builds on the mud. The saying is true when a private citizen makes a foundation there, and foolishly persuades himself that the people will fear him when he is oppressed by his enemies. But if the leader is a prince who has established himself as a person who can command, and is a man of courage who does not fail in other qualifications, and who, by his resolution and energy, keeps all the people encouraged, Such a one will never find himself abandoned by the people, and it will be shown that he has laid his foundations well. He who builds on the people builds on the mob. With the old saying that I've never heard about this old saying. Building organizations on people is not flimsy, it is rather sustainable. Refuting a long-held proverb, he who builds upon the people builds on the mob. Okay, but I want to know, where did this come from? Where did this saying come from? He's saying that this is like something that was said before, like a old proverb, something that's like common knowledge. Don't get it. And do not let anyone attack this statement with the saying that. Let me see, origin. They're saying like he's the one that who said that the first time. The man who counts on the people build his house on mud. Why did I get the kobold Wikipedia page when I googled this? Well, I just get quotes from this book. I do not get the origin of this supposed old saying. But okay. Wait, why did it? With the leader, oh yes. He's saying basically that if you're just a private person, you should not count on the other people to save you. But if you are a leader, if you are a prince, then the people might actually be willing to save you. So you can count on the people. It seems like he kind of like overlooks how you actually acquire this or maintain this trust from the people. That's kind of interesting though. He's just saying, yeah, the people are good, but so far nothing about how to keep these people or gain the respect, really, long term. But I guess that is kind of easier and more broad than just how to actually conquer and maintain a territory full of hostile people. That one is more important and more delicate, so a lot of focus should be put on that. Now, moving on. These principalities are open to danger when they are passing from the constitutional to the absolute order of government. For such princes either rule personally or through councils. In the latter case, their government is Their government is weaker and more insecure because it rests entirely on the attitude of those citizens who are placed on the council and who, especially in troubled times, can destroy the government with great ease, either by trickery or open rebellion. The prince does not have the chance in a rebellion to exercise absolute authority, because the citizens and subjects, accustomed to receiving orders from the council, are not willing to obey him when there is an unstable situation. Moreover, there will always be in doubtful times the scarcity of men whom he can trust. Such a prince cannot rely upon what he observes in quiet times, when citizens have need of the state, because then everyone agrees with him. They all promise to support him, and when death is far distant, they all wish to die for him. But in troubled times, when the state has need of its citizens, then he finds only a few. Moreover, this experiment of moving from a constitutional to an absolute government is dangerous, because it can only be tried once. Therefore, a wise prince ought to adopt such a course that his citizens will always, in all kinds of circumstances, have need of the state and of him, and then he will always find them faithful. God, these passages, I think I need coffee. Thankfully, there's a break coming in 6 minutes because I need some coffee. I'm getting sleepy. Holy shit, I'm getting sleepy. And I actually drank Red Bull, a can of Red Bull this afternoon. I was like, you know what? I've never drank Red Bull once, so why not take one? And now I'm feeling, and now I'm feeling, and now I'm feeling sleepy. Oh, it's been a few hours, 4 hours at least, I guess, but still. I guess energy drinks don't do a lot to me. But now the passages, this biggest paragraph. What the fuck are you talking about? In the latter case, their government is weaker because it rests entirely on those citizens, and who especially can destroy the government with great ease. Does not have chance in a rebellion to exercise absolute authority because the citizens and... Oh. Okay, this is interesting. A council makes the prince's authority more diluted, so if the councillors actually rebel, the prince doesn't have a lot of grip on power to keep everyone in place. There's unstable. Always being doubtful times, the scarcity of men whom he can trust. Okay. Yeah, and when there's trouble, there's not a lot of people that the prince can trust, and with the council splitting the power for he has even less people that they can rely on it. Such a prince. God, not a yawn. Such a prince cannot rely upon what he observes in quiet times, when citizens have need of the state, because then everyone agrees on him. He all promised to support anyone in that sphere, but in troubled times, when the state has needs, he only finds a few. Yeah, people, they all promise to support him, and when death is far distant, they all wish to die for him. A bunch of empty words from cowards. Let me highlight this. Okay. Let me copy this. I have a file of notes that I'm making, so I think this note is a bit interesting. Or at least interesting enough that I should store it. Okay. Therefore, a wise being ought to adopt such a course that his citizens will always, in all kinds of circumstances, have need of the state and of him, and then he will always find them faithful. Citizens have need of the state and of him. The prince has to make the citizens need the state. That's an interesting testament. Not sure how we will actually translate in practice, though. Not sure how we translate in practice. But let's move on. God, I'm getting sleepy. I guess no. I also ate a lot. Yeah, that's actually not helping with the sleepiness. I ate Irish beef stew, which is kinda heavy, not really on fat, but it is a lot of poor protein and stuff in it. So yes, I ate a lot and now I'm feeling sleepy. God, I need coffee. 3 minutes. I have to survive 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Chapter 10, concerning the way in which the strength of all principalities ought to be measured. It is necessary to consider another point in examining the character of these principalities. That is, whether a prince has such power that in case of need he can support himself with his own resources, or whether he always has need of the assistance of others. To be more specific, I consider those who are able to support themselves by their own resources as those who can, either by having plenty of men or money, raise a sufficient army to join battle against anyone who comes to attack them. I consider those always to have need of others as those who cannot show themselves against the enemy in the field, but are forced to defend themselves by sheltering behind walls. This first case has been discussed, but we will speak of it again should it come up. In the second case, one can say nothing except to encourage such princes to provision and strengthen their towns, and not on any account try to defend the country. And whoever protects his town well and has managed the other concerns of his subjects in the way stated above will never be attacked without great caution. Men are not eager for actions where the difficulties can be clearly seen, and will be seen to not be an easy thing to attack one who has his town well protected and who is not hated by his people. Oh god, okay, I need a moment because this whole paragraph did not enter my mind. Concerning the way in which the strength of all principalities ought to be measured. Okay, it is necessary to consider another point in examining the character of these presidents. But the prince has to power that is a... Maybe I'm relaxing too hard. This song, these cute songs, and the rain sounds at the back. Yeah, I'm very sensitive to sound. Like, I listen to ASMR a lot, and I may be putting myself to sleep like this. But it is for the chat, for the VODs. So it is better to have than not have. It's better that I fall asleep than annoy everyone with an empty stream where the only sounds are my voice. But okay. Let me blink a few. Oh, ads are starting. Okay. 3 minutes. I'm gonna grab coffee. God damn it. Alright. Oh, music and rain. I'm sorry. Okay, now I drank coffee. Grab a little snack. Hopefully I won't fall asleep this time. God. I didn't even... I did not even have a bad sleep this time. I did not go to sleep too late. Had almost 8 hours of sleep. Yet here I am. Starting to lose a little bit. One second. Gotta answer a little thing. Okay. So this paragraph. What the fuck was going on in this paragraph? Where a prince has such power that in case of need he can support himself with his own resources, where he always has need of assistance of others. Okay, I remember this. Yeah, Prince must not owe anything to anyone. Machiavelli makes this very clear. Full independence, so he never has any other person getting in the way and asking for favors. Complete independence. To be more specific, I consider those who are able to support themselves by their own resources, those who can, either by having plenty of men or money, raise a sufficient army to join battle against any who comes to attack them. Ah, yes, of course you do not want to depend on other people for that. You do not want to depend on other people for that, because they can just choose to not to defend you, and then you're dead. Feels like it's pretty straightforward why you should not depend on other people to raise armies for you. I consider those always to have need of others as those who cannot show themselves against the enemy in the field, but are forced to defend themselves by sheltering behind walls. First case has been discussed, but we'll speak of it again should it come up. In the second case, one can say nothing except to encourage such princes to provision and strengthen their own towns. Yeah, you cannot. There's nothing else you can say aside from if you need to defend yourself by hiding behind the walls. The only advice that Machiavelli has is to make your walls bigger. Make your walls bigger then, and good luck. The first case, but we'll speak of it again. The second case, courage to sprint provision and strengthen their own towns, and not on any account try to defend the country. And not on any account try to defend the country. Don't sally out, don't try to... Don't sally out, don't try to attack the enemy. Just defend and hope for the best. And whoever protects his town well and has managed to the other concerns of his the concerns of his subjects in the way stated above, will protect his town well and has managed the other concern. Alright, god damn it, I read the same line twice. The subjects in the way stated above will never be attacked without great caution. Whoever protects his town well and has managed the other concerns of his subjects in the way stated above will never be attacked without great caution. Yes, even if you do not have an army to defend yourself, here if your town is well defended, nobody's gonna be, well, at least nobody intelligent is gonna think you're easy pickings. Men are not eager for actions where the difficulties can be clearly seen. Men are not eager for actions where the difficulties can be clearly seen. That is another important quote. Even if you do not have an army, you can make it less likely. You can less likely get attacked. You'll not be seen as easy thing to attack anyone who has the town or protected and who is not hated by his people. Okay, let me actually add this holy thing to the quote. I hate quote mechanic is a pain in the goddamn ass. There we go. I need to copy this quote, add to my notes because this is gonna be on the test. These notes are gonna be on the test. I hope you all were making your own notes, copying mine, because these are gonna be on the test. The cities of Germany are absolutely free. They own little of the country around them, and they yield obedience to the king when it suits them. Okay, let me try this again. The cities of Germany are absolutely free. They own little of the country around them, and they yield obedience to the king when it suits them. They do not fear this or any power they may have near them, because they are protected in such a way that everyone thinks the taking of them by direct attack will be drawn out and difficult. They have proper ditches and walls. They have sufficient large guns, and they always keep enough supplies in public storehouses for 1 year's eating, drinking, and fighting. And beyond this, to keep the people quiet and without loss to the state, they always have the means of giving work to the community in those labors that are the life and strength of the city, and through the pursuit of which the people are supported. They also value military exercises and moreover have many laws to support these exercises. Okay, give you examples. I like when the Machiavelli gives examples of what he's talking about. Cities of Germany are absolutely free. They own little of the country around them and yield obedience to the king when it suits them. They do not fear this or any power they may have near them, because they are protected in such a way that everyone thinks they're taking of them by direct attack will be drawn out in difficult. They have proper ditches and walls, they have sufficient light guns, and they always keep enough supplies in food stores. And beyond this, to keep the people quiet. Okay, so they're prepared for sieges. In every way possible, the cities of Germany in whatever year that Machiavelli was alive. Let me check. When was it written? 1513. 1513. 1513. 1513. Is that how you say in English for 1513? Yes, in that age, the German cities were the best defended. And they are free. They own little of the country. They own little of the country around them, and they yield obedience to the king when it suits them. Seems like it's a good place to vacation. Therefore, a prince who has a strong city and who has not made himself hated will not be attacked. If anyone does attack, he will only be driven off in defeat. I kind of doubt, like the Machiavelli says these things with such certainty, but overwhelming force can still break a fucking place. Because the affairs of this world are so changeable, it is also almost impossible to keep an army for a whole year in the field without being interfered with. Okay, so he does have a practical idea of why cities can be so well defended. It's not just out of his ass that he's pulling. Well, I guess I should have assumed that he's not pulling things out of his ass, but still, he doesn't exactly mention why these cities are undefeatable. Why exactly someone who attacks will actually lose. Like, he just says it is so without giving that many examples, without giving more reasoning about why you do fail. Why anyone who's attacking would fail. Keep an eye without being interfered with it, and whoever should reply, if the people have property outside the city, and see it burned, they will not remain patient, and the long attack and self-interest will make them forget their prince. Wait, the people who have property and see it burns, they will not remain patient, and the long attack and self-interest will make them forget their prince. To this I answer that a powerful and courageous prince will overcome all such difficulties by giving at one time hope to his subjects that the evil will not be for long, and at another time encouraging fear of the cruelty of the enemy. At the same time, he should deal appropriately with those subjects who seem to him to speak out too much. Okay, yeah, this is funny. To this I answer that a powerful and courageous prince will overcome all such difficulties by giving at one time hope to his subjects that they will not be for long, give hope that things will pass, that this misery, that the siege will not last. Another time, you make them fear the enemy, fear that the enemy is gonna raise the city and create even more cruelty. And lastly, always deal with the people who talk too much. there is no mercy. Even if you're trying to comfort the people, if they actually try to cry out too much, you fucking cut their throat out. That is the fucking mercilessness of Machiavelli that I find amusing. Furthermore, the enemy would naturally immediately on their arrival burn and ruin the country at the time when the spirits of the people are still hot and ready for the defense. Therefore, so much the less should the prince hesitate, because after a time, when spirits have cooled, the damage is already done, and there is no longer any remedy. Thus the people are at time much more ready to unite with their prince, because he appears to owe them a favor now that their houses have been burnt and their possessions ruined in his defense. This is because it is in the nature of men to be bound by the benefits they confer as much as by those they receive. Therefore, if everything is well considered, it will not be difficult for a wise prince to keep the minds of his citizens strong and loyal, from first to last when he continues to support and defend them. Okay, this is because bound by the fences. I think this is like a... This is because the minds of men are based on trade. Take and receive. The minds of men are based around what they receive and what they give. This is an interesting code. This is an important code. Because everything for people is a trade. You don't rely too much on the goodwill of people. Actually pay attention to what they're giving and what you're taking from them. Now, what about this passage? The enemy... okay. When the enemy arrives, they immediately burn and ruin everything around the city. And the people... And when the enemy arrives, the spirits of the people are still hot and ready and loyal. Okay, I think he's trying to make use of this time. I think he's saying something along the lines of... At the time when the people are hot and ready to make use of this, by reassuring them. Because once the people are calm, the damage is already done, so there's no escape. Yeah, when you're getting attacked, the country is gonna burn. The country is gonna burn. It's better to let it burn and defend yourself, and then actually compensate the people who lost things, instead of risking it all defending the country. Thus, the people are at the time much more ready to unite with their prince, because he appears to owe them a favor now that their houses have been burned and their possessions ruining his defense. Yes, make use that the people are gonna be angry to unite them. I know exactly 100% understand what is the point of this, but I think it's something along these lines. Make use, strike while the iron is hot. While the people are angry, make promises and unite them against the enemy. For if everything is well considered, it will not be difficult for a wise prince to keep the minds of his citizens strong and loyal from first to last when he continues to support and defend them. Yeah, and then he ends in this conclusion, so I think I am mostly right in my analysis. But why is this? Okay. But I think there's not much else to look into this. Let's move on. Next chapter, chapter 11, concerning church principality. It's kind of unfortunate he doesn't go into a little bit more detail in how to do this in practice, because in my writings I need practice. I am extremely detailed. I call my fantasy hard fantasy, because magic and everything else is very rational and logical. So it's like hard sci-fi but for fantasy. That is how I write. So I need some not just ideas. I need something more practical and tangible, and better examples, more detailed examples about how to actually achieve these things and how they will actually go in practice, and how the people revolt in practice. But I think that's not. Yeah, it will be kind of out of scope of this book, because it's just like people have said about this book. It's like a resume that Machiavelli gave to a prince himself, and saying like, "Yo, dude, I know how to rule. I know how to be an advisor. Look at me." So going into too much detail is kind of like not the point. It's just saying, I know what I'm doing. I know how to do this. And a prince himself would actually know how these things might actually work in practice. So there's also no need to school the prince in that depth of detail, because the prince is already supposedly somewhat of a learned person themselves. So you do not need to teach 1 + 1 to a prince. You just need to show that you know what you're talking about. That is the point of this book. But okay, let's move on. Concerning church principalities, it only remains now to speak of church principalities. All of the difficulties within them occur prior to gaining possession, because they are acquired either by capacity or good fortune, and then can be held without either. For they are sustained by the ancient laws of religion. These laws are so powerful and of such character that the principalities may be held no matter how their princes behave and live. These princes alone have states and do not defend them. They have subjects and do not rule them. The states, although unguarded, are not taken from them. The subjects, although not ruled, do not care, and they have neither the desire nor the ability to rebel. So only such principalities are secure and happy. But being supported by powers to which the human mind cannot reach, I shall speak no more of them, because being created and maintained by God, it would be the act of a proud and foolish man to discuss them. Okay, I need to reread this one because it's kind of deep. Kind of thick. Not deep, thick. Kind of thick. It only remains now to speak of church principalities. Although the difficulties with them occur prior to getting possession, because they acquire either by capacity or good fortune, and they can be held without either. For they are sustained by the ancient laws of religion. The laws are so powerful and of such character that the principalities may be held no matter how their princes behave and live. These princes alone have states and do not defend them. They have subjects and do not rule them. The states are unguarded and are not taken from them. The subjects, although not ruled, do not care, and they have neither desire nor the ability to rebel. So only such principalities are secure and happy, but being supported by powers, okay. Yeah, church principality is like the alternate weird way of becoming a prince and acquiring power and growing power, because everyone is ruled by religion. So how do you actually rule and govern a principality like this? You don't. You need to be a priest. You need to be a pope, and everything he said over here does not apply. Everything he has said before does not apply to becoming a powerful ruler in that kind of a state, principality, or territory. Nevertheless, if anyone should ask of me how it happens that the church has attained such greatness in earthly power, seeing that up to the time of Alexander, Italian defenders have not placed much value on the church's earthly power. Yet now a king of France trembles before it, and he has been able to drive him from Italy. And to ruin the Venetians. Although this may be very obvious, it seems worthwhile to describe it again. Okay, this is a story that I already He has already said before, he's gonna say it again. Yeah, I'm gonna alter the PDF window just a tiny bit again. So my hat doesn't get too much in the array of the words. Anyway. Before Charles, King of France, came into Italy, this country was under the control of the Pope, the Venetians, the King of Naples, the Duke of Milan, and the Florentines. These leaders had two principal anxieties. The first, that no foreign army should enter Italy, and the second, that none of themselves should seize others' lands. Those about whom there was the most anxiety were the Pope and the Venetians. To restrain the Venetians, the union of all the others was necessary, as it was for the defense of the harem. To keep down the Pope, they made use of the barons of Rome. They consisted of two groups, the Orsini and the Colonnesi, who always had a reason for disorder, and, standing with weapons in their hands under the eyes of the Pope, kept the Pope weak and powerless. And although there might sometimes be a courageous Pope, yet neither fortune nor wisdom could rid him of these problems. In addition, the short life of a Pope is also a cause of weakness, because in the 10 years which is the average life of a Pope, oh shit, that's actually interesting. Popes over there only lasted 10 years because they're already old men when they're elected into Pope. He can with difficulty reduce the power of only one of the groups, and if, for example, the Colonnesi were almost destroyed, another group would arise hostile to the Orsini, who would support the Colonnesi, but they would not have time to ruin the Orsini. Thus was the reason why the earthly powers of the church were not highly regarded in Italy. Okay, so yes, church was a fucking mess. The church was a fucking mess, that's what I'm getting from this. The church in Italy was a fucking mess. No, Italy itself was a fucking mess at that time of Machiavelli, but this kind of makes sense. He already talked about uniting Italy. That the Italians were very proud and they wanted to unite Italy, but there's a lot of problems over there, and because of the machinations of a certain person, Italy got fucked harder instead of being united. I think he said something along those lines, but it's been quite a while, so I don't remember the exact details of the previous stories. But it's also not very important, so just move on. This, however, was not so in the time of Pope Alexander VI. Of all the popes to have been, goddamn, there's some annoying little thing on. You can't see this because it doesn't show, but there's a fucking bar with some tools over here that are completely useless. I don't want this bar in my, it keeps taking space on my screen. Where can I put it? Over here, I guess. Maybe here you'll be away from me, because it kept getting in the way of the text, and I can't move it away from whenever you'll be like. I can't dock at it like over here. There's like space over here. Put those fucking tools over here, or on the side. Put these fucking tools over here. Why does it have to be floating in the middle of the text? God damn it, PDF. I hate PDF. I hate Adobe. Rant over. This, however, was not so in the time of Pope Alexander VI. Of all the popes that have ever been, he showed how a pope with both money and military power was able to succeed. With the help of his son, Cesare Borgia. Oh, Cesare Borgia again. Machiavelli is kind of a fanboy for Cesare Borgia. It's like the third time he's mentioned. In the different chapter. And by reason of the entry of the French into Italy, he brought about all those things which I have discussed above in the actions of Cesare. And although his intention was not to benefit the church, nevertheless, what Pope Alexander did contributed to the greatness of the church, which, after his death and the ruin of Cesare, gained the benefits of all his labors. Pope Julius came soon after Pope Alexander, and found the church strong, possessing all the Romagna. The barons of Rome made powerless, and through the efforts of Alexander, the Colonnesi and Orsini groups have weakened. He also found the way open to accumulate money in a manner such as had never been practiced before Alexander's time. Such things Julius not only followed, but improved upon. He also intended to gain Bologna, to ruin the Venetians, and to drive the French out of Italy. He achieved all of these goals, and even more to his credit, he did everything to strengthen the church and not any private individual. kept also the Orsini and Colonnesi groups within the bounds in which he found them. Although some among them wanted to make trouble, nevertheless he held two things firm. First, the greatness of the church, with which he frightened them, and the other, not allowing them to have their own cardinals, who could cause disorder among them. Whenever these groups have their own cardinals, they do not remain quiet for long. Cardinals encourage the groups like the Orsini in Rome, and the barons are forced to support them. Thus, from the ambitions of cardinals arise disorders and rebellion among the barons. For these reasons, His Holiness Pope Leo was most powerful, and it's to be hoped that, if others made the church great in arms, he will take it still greater and more respected by his goodness and infinite other virtues. Okay, not much interesting to go on with this. It's just that Pope Julius, who came after Pope Alexander, found him in the perfect position to grow stronger, to grow the church stronger. Everything that could get in the way of the church. Barons of Rome, the Colonnesi, the Orsini. He also had Romagna as a territory. He also had a way to make money. He also intended to gain Bologna and run the Venetians into the French of Italy. So he had the perfect storm. Oh, I hit my knee on my fucking desk. He had the perfect storm to go stronger, and he did. By the efforts of his predecessor, which is it's kind of ironic, because his predecessor was the one that set everything up, and then his predecessor failed, and then he continued the job. But not much else important to go, so let's just move on. This is just history. This is just a lesson of history, not exactly relevant to my goal, which is understand more of politics, or medieval politics at least. How many kinds of soldiers there are and concerning mercenaries. Chapter 12. I have described the characteristics. How many chapters there are? Chapter 26. A call to liberate Italy from invaders. Okay. We are chapter 12. There may still be a few streams ahead. Who knows? I have described the characteristics of the various principalities that I propose to discuss. Wait, I already finished this, let me grab some other music. Roxy video game music. I'm using Final Fantasy XIV music. I just want random game music. There we go. I've described the characteristics of the various principalities that I propose to discuss, and I have considered in some degree the causes of their being good or bad. I have also shown the methods by which many have sought to acquire principalities and to hold them. It now remains for me to discuss generally the means of attack and defense which go with each of them. Ooh, this one is interesting. Attack and defense. Now we're talking. Now we're talking my language. Hello, Bunkum, thank you for redeeming the first. Actually, you had a few people over here, a number of you are actually redeeming the first. Congrats, you get the whole Nairi grammar, you can do anything you want. Remember, she's pretty good with illusions. And if you want to this time. Also, she's doing poetry instead of actually whispering. I thought it would be a different question. But her mind's the inner workings of her mind sometimes escape me. She's a mysterious person. You can never really predict what the grammar is going to do next, really. You can never predict. Now, what was I doing? Reading, of course, reading. Where was I reading? Oh yes, attacks and defense. Attack and defense. I'm excited. Maybe we... What song is this? Legend of Cartier, Reboo's Holy Woman. It's actually a good song. I never heard of Legend of Cartier. Is this a game? It is a game. A PS1 game. It's like a strategy game. Kinda seems like a... Yeah, it kinda seems like it's Final Fantasy Tactics or something like that. Let me just take a quick distraction over here. It has that art style from older Final Fantasy. Oh no, it's more like what do you call it? Fire Emblem. It's a bit more like Fire Emblem, it seems. Yeah, you have a shit ton of units. Okay. I'm gonna actually add this game to the list because I am suddenly interested by it. I've never, ever heard of this game before. I'm just gonna add somewhere in the list because whatever. I like Legend of... That seems like it's a cool name, you know. Legend of Mana is my favorite game, so... My legend. So maybe Cartier is another cool person like I am. You gotta meet with find your own king, you know. Your legendary king. Maybe we have something in common. Anyway, let's continue on. We have seen above how necessary it is for a prince to have his foundations well laid. Otherwise, it follows of necessity he will go to ruin. The chief foundations of all states, new as well as old or mixed, are good laws and good arms. As there cannot be laws where the state is not well armed, it follows that where they are all well armed, they have good laws. I shall leave the laws out of discussion and shall speak of the arms. Wait, what? I have seen above, you have foundations well laid. The chief foundations of all states, new as well as all meets, are good laws and good arms. There cannot be good laws where the state is not well armed. As there cannot be good laws where the state is not well armed. It follows that where they are well armed, they have good laws. I don't get why though. Why good laws go along with good arms? I have no idea. Like why? Why? Did they outlaw? It's like it feels like did they outlaw weapons or something or regulate weapons in medieval times? Is that what's implying? I mean, I don't want to draw to modern parallels, but it kind of seems like it is, and that makes me curious. I don't exactly know about what good laws they're talking about, or what good arms it means. Maybe it's about recruiting soldiers. What the hell? There's a weird sound going on outside. Hang on, a minute. Okay, I thought that was actually a car. I think that's a car on the neighbor that was dying or something. Like it was like, and I think he was trying to turn on the car or something like that, or maybe it was some sort of dying washing machine. But it sounded like a car after it stopped, so I think it was a weird car. That kind of scared me. I thought there was something going to explode outside. Or something broken outside, like a pipe or something. I don't know. Anyway. Had enough distractions. I think that good laws and good arms mean good arms from not weapons but soldiers. I think that's what this actually mean. Not good arms mean pair of arms, not exactly pair, not literally a pair of arms, but you know, arms of a soldier. Man at arms is a name of a soldier, so I guess this is what he's talking about. Good laws that make good soldiers. The arms with which a prince defends his state are either his own. Yes, the arms, the soldiers. Good laws with good soldiers. There's a good structure and mechanism that makes people into good soldiers. The arms with which the prince defends his state are either his own or they are mercenaries, auxiliaries, or mixed. Mercenaries and auxiliaries are useless and dangerous. What are auxiliaries though? I've seen this term before, but I never actually. No, what is used for auxiliaries? Okay. Auxiliaries are support personnel that assist the military or police but are organized differently from regular forces. Auxiliary may be military volunteers or militia, undertaking support functions or performing certain duties such as garrison troops, usually on a part-time basis. Unlike a military reserve force, an auxiliary force does not necessarily have the same degree of training or ranking structure as regular soldiers and may or may not be integrated into a fighting force. Some auxiliaries, however, are militias composed of former active duty military personnel and actually have better training and combat experience than their regular counterpart. Okay. What is actually a militia? Is generally an army. Militia is generally an army or some other fighting organization of non-professional and or part-time soldiers. Oh, okay, non-professional and or part-time soldiers. So auxiliaries is like a just like general people that do busy work. They are not soldiers. They may have a bit of soldier training, but all militias are actual soldiers, but they're just part-time soldiers. So it's they're kind of like similar, militia and auxiliaries. But okay, back to the test. Mercenaries and auxiliaries are useless and dangerous. If a prince holds his state based on these arms, he would stand neither firm nor safe, because they are ambitious, not united, without discipline, unfaithful, brave in front of friends, and cowardly before enemies. They have neither fear of God nor loyalty to man. Destruction caused by them is put off only as long as the attack lasts. In peace, one is wrought by them, and in war, by the enemy. The fact is, they have no other attraction or reason for staying in battle than a small amount of pay which is not sufficient to make them willing to die for you. They are ready enough to be your soldiers while you do not make war. If a war comes, they disappear or run from the enemies. I will have no trouble in proving this, because the ruin of Italy has been caused by nothing else than by resting all her hopes for many years on mercenaries. Although they formerly made some display and appeared brave among themselves, yet when the foreigners came they showed what they really were. Thus, it was that Charles, King of France, was allowed to seize Italy without a show of resistance. Whoever told us that our weaknesses were the cause of it told the truth. But they were not weaknesses, he imagined, but those which I have described, and as there were the weaknesses of princes, it is the princes who would have also suffered the result. Yeah, it makes sense that he hates mercenaries, because you're asking someone to fight and die for money. Why would they die for money? Why would anyone ever die for money? They're just gonna run away. They're not gonna die, they're gonna run away, and that's worse. You need the people to stay, because once you have one person running away, everyone else starts to run away. That is the problem. One run, everyone runs. It's a route, and you don't want that. It's like it's a delicate balance. It's like risking too much. It's risking a lot. How do you say it? It is an unstable situation. Either you win if you're fighting mercenary or mercenary. It is quite either you win, either the enemy suddenly start running, or you do, or your men do, because they're cowardly. Mercenaries are cowardly. What he wants to What Machiavelli is telling people is to make soldiers, actual trained soldiers from the people, because soldiers live in the land, they married people in the land, they have make families in the land, so they want to protect the land, and they make vows to you to obey you. Because if they run away, they're gonna be considered by everyone they love as cowardly, and get exiled. So they have a shit ton of soldiers have a big, extreme level of actual trained soldiers have a very high level of motivation to stay and fight and actually die in battle, die honorably in battle. All mercenaries don't. So it is very clear which one is actually more trustworthy. Mercenaries can be like a show of force, like you're spending a little bit of money to show them. But even then, if your mercenaries are running, and your soldiers see your mercenaries are running, they may momentarily forget their bravery and start running themselves. So even if you have only mercenaries as padding for your army, if your mercenaries actually break before your troops, then they're actually being a detriment to your army. They can actually be a detriment to your army, because in the middle of battle, the soldier doesn't know what's going on. The soldier only sees around him, and he only sees the people around him, and then he sees someone running away in fear of battle, and then his courage falters, and that causes a stampede. That causes a stampede of cowardice. So it makes a lot of sense that he should not rely on mercenaries. There are, of course, exceptions. There's always exceptions. You can find some mercenaries who are honorable, but they're rare and far, and difficult to acquire, difficult to maintain, because they will know their own value. And also, you can actually try to make a relationship with the mercenaries to the point that they will feel unwilling to actually break this relationship, and they will work harder to fight for you. But in the end, unless every single mercenary that you have hired has this sort of a connection relationship with you, they're still gonna run, and they're still gonna cause a stampede. So mercenaries are really the biggest trap you could rely upon. Maybe if you want to use mercenaries to deal with some unruly peasants or to bully some people, and there's no chance of them running away, yeah, do it with mercenaries. Though you could do it with your own people, but still. You could use your own soldiers to do that. But to actually fight and defend your land and die for your land, don't trust some mercenaries. It's kind of funny because a lot of stories make mercenaries as some sort of honorable alternative that you can just buy, and they will be so loyal to you. But no, they're just murderous cutthroats who are cowardly and just want a bit of quick money and food and extort you, and then they run away when you need the most, because why the fuck would they care? So it's funny when stories make mercenaries to be that loyal. Yeah. And I think we should move on. Whoever told us the weaknesses were the cause of he told the truth, but they were not the weaknesses he imagined, but those which I have described as they are the weakness of a prince. It is the princes who have also suffered the result. I wish to demonstrate further the danger of these soldiers. The mercenary captains are either capable men, or they are not. If they are, you cannot trust them, because they always want to become more powerful, either by oppressing you, who are the master, or others contrary to your intentions. If the mercenary captain is not skillful, you are ruining the usual way. Yes, if the mercenary captain is competent, he is likely power hungry, and power hungry means competition, and competition means danger, and you do not want competition, you do not want danger, you do not want risk. So you either have a good mercenary captain who's a danger to you, or you have an incompetent one who is also a danger to you. There's no winning. It is argued that any soldiers would act in the same way whether mercenary or not. I replied that when arms must be used, they are under the control of a prince or a republic. The prince ought to go in person and perform the duty of a captain. The republic has to send its citizens, and when one is sent who does not turn out satisfactorily, it ought to send him back. When one is a worthy captain, it ought to hold on to him by the law so that he does not leave the command. Experience has shown princes and republics, single-handed, make the greatest progress, and mercenaries do nothing except damage. It is more difficult for a republic armed with its own arms to be taken over by one of the citizens than it is to take over one armed with foreign arms. Rome and Sparta too stood for many ages armed and free. The Swiss are completely armed and quite free. Okay, I need to actually reread this paragraph. Sometimes I read things out loud, and because I'm reading out things out loud, there's too much brain power going into reading out loud, so I don't process, I don't absorb what I'm reading about. I don't absorb what I'm reading about. Bizarre than any soldiers who walked in the same way where the mercenary ran out. I applied that when arms must be used, they're under the control of a prince or republic. Okay, yeah, if you need to use a soldier, they keep using arms, but soldiers, it's easier. Why do you gotta use this term? Soldiers. When soldiers must be used, they must be under control of the prince or the republic. The prince needs to be in person and act as a captain. The republic has to send its citizens, and one is sent out who does not turn out satisfactorily, it ought to send him back. Okay. If the citizen is not performing, you guys send him back. When one is a worthy captain, it ought to hold on to him for by the law, so that he does not leave the command. Okay, if you find people who are useful, do not let them leave. Experience has shown princes and republics, single-handed, make the greatest progress, and mercenaries do nothing except damage. Okay, yes, princes and republics, good. Mercenaries, bad. It is more difficult for a republic armed with its own arms to be taken over by one of its citizens than it is to take over one armed with foreign arms. Okay. Yes. Yes, this one is quite obvious. A republic who's armed, who's protected by its own citizen soldiers, is harder to take over than one that's protected by mercenaries or foreign soldiers. Rome and Sparta stood for many ages, armed and free. The Swedes are completely armed and quite free. Yes, just examples. Of ancient mercenaries, for example, there are the Carthaginians, who were oppressed by their mercenary soldiers after the first war with the Romans, although the Carthaginians had their own citizens for captains. After the death of Epaminondas, Philip of Macedon was made captain of their soldiers by the Thebans, and after victory he took away their liberty. Okay, just more historical examples. Not much to go about since I'm not a historian. I do not have that deep of a historical knowledge. I'm just a hobbyist, so just curiosity. I do know a lot more about other things than actual human history. Anyway, Duke Filippo being dead, the Milanese hire Francesco Sforza to fight against the Venetians, and he, having overcome the enemy at Caravaggio, joined with the Venetians to crush the Milanese, his masters. Father Sforza has been hired by Queen Joan of Naples, therefore unprotected, so that she was forced to throw herself into the arms of King of... Oh my god! What is the fuck is this massive ass paragraph? This is a fucking wall of text! This is a fucking wall of text. How many words there are in this paragraph? How many words there are in this paragraph? No, I want to select it all, please. Come on, let me select it all. I'm not gonna read this paragraph. This is just the Venetians. This was before their time. The reputation of Milan. We found him very brilliant. Yeah, this is just history. He just went wild. He just went wild on references like source. Someone said source to Machiavelli, and he took this personally. Adds in 1 minute and 40 seconds. Okay. Let me just make a counter of this. I need to open a document file. What the fuck? 500 words. 500 fucking words in a goddamn in a singular goddamn paragraph. For you to get a perspective, 3,000 words is like a average chapter for me, and 3,000 words is a big chapter. Some fireworks are going on, not sure why. 3,000 words is a big chapter, and there's like one fourth, no, one fifth, one sixth, around 1/6 of a chapter. This text is 1/6 of a whole chapter, and it's on a single paragraph. That is horrible. That is horrifying. Don't do this. Break down your fucking paragraph. This is a pain in the ass to read. Imagine you're over here and then you get lost. No, imagine you're over here near the middle and then you kind of lose yourself. He's flexing. I'm not flexing. I'm giving you a writing lesson. Why you don't do a big ass paragraph like this? Imagine you're over here in the middle and then you kind of lose yourself and then you're trying to find again. How do you do this? How do you find this passage again in this fucking mess of a word of text? Don't do this. I'm just gonna skip this. These examples are just history, not important, and also 10 seconds until ads, so I might as well just start here, the ad break. I need a bit of a stretch and rest my voice. See you guys in 3 minutes. Okay, we're back. What song is this? Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X. Spyro Scenery. Oh, it's nice. Anyway, where were we? I forgot. Oh yes. Okay. Wall of text. Wall of text. I need to zoom back in. Zoom back in. Proper placement. There we go. Wall of text. Let's ignore it. Because with these examples I have reached Italy, which has been ruled for many years by mercenaries. I wish to discuss them in depth in order that, having seen their rise and progress, one may be better prepared to stand against them. But this one is too jarring, too grating, this song. Unfortunate. Let me move forward. Yeah, no, this is gonna be annoying. I need the softer music. Sorry. Sorry for the fans of Mother. Is that what they call Mother? Yes, thank you. Sorry for the fans of Mother. I need to skip this song. Shit, I lost myself. Because with these examples I have reached Italy, which has been ruled for many years by mercenaries. I wish to discuss them in depth in order that, having seen their rise and progress, one may be better prepared to stand against them. You must understand that the Where's the song? I can't hear it. Why was it so low? Oh, and the next song is gonna be loud. God damn it. And I lost myself again. Because with these examples I have reached Italy, which has been ruled for many years by mercenaries. I wish to discuss them in depth in order that, having seen their rise and progress, one may be better prepared to stand against them. You must understand then that the empire has recently been destroyed in Italy, that the Pope has acquired more earthly power, and that Italy has been divided up into more states. The reasons are that many of the great cities took up arms against their nobles, who, formerly supported by the emperor, were oppressing them. The church was supporting the rebellion so as to gain earthly authority. Many others, their citizens, became princes. Thus, Italy fell partially into the hands of the church and of the republics. The church consisted of priests, and the republic consisted of citizens who were not soldiers, so both commerce, hiring foreigners as mercenaries. Okay, the republic, yeah, they have the people of the republic. They were rich, so why not hire citizens? And also the church. The church doesn't have citizens, so how could they actually train? That would actually be cool, though. I was saying the church consists of priests, so how do they actually train soldiers? They can. They need mercenaries, but maybe that could have been a cool period in time where the church was actually made of warrior priests. That'll be cool. Also, what empire they're talking about? Is this the Holy Roman Empire? Oh, see? And then the next song is very loud. There we go, now it's back. No, Holy Roman... it could be the Holy Roman Empire because... I do not exactly know too much of that history. Because the empire started in like the year 1000. And since we're in 1500. And the empire lasted until what? 1918? No. 1800s. Yeah. It lasted until the 1800s. Like full 300 years after the time of Machiavelli. They definitely were around. So I think that's the empire they're talking about. The powers who made mercenaries well known was Abrigo da Conio from Romania. From the school of this man came, among others, Braccio and Sforza. Also, this is a bit too loud. Just a tiny bit. Who in their time were masters of Italy. After these came all the other captains who You now have directed the military of Italy. The outcome of all their bravery has been that Italy has been invaded by Charles, robbed by Louis, exploited by Ferdinand, and insulted by the Swiss. Well, fucking Italy has been used and abused by everybody. The principle that has guided the mercenary has been first to lower the credit of foot soldiers so that they might increase their own status. They did this because they did not have their own lands to give them income and so had to survive on their pay. They were thus unable to support many soldiers. Moreover, having foot soldiers did not give them any authority, so they were led to employ horse soldiers. In this way, with a moderate force, they could maintain themselves with some satyrs. However, this meant that in an army of 20,000 soldiers, there were not even 2,000 foot soldiers. Besides this, they used every trick to reduce their own involvement and the danger to themselves and their soldiers. These tricks included not killing in the battle, but taking prisoners and liberating without gaining money in return. They did not attack towns at night, nor did the soldiers in the towns attack camps at night. They did not surround their own camps either with a wall or a ditch, nor did they fight in the winter. All these things were permitted by their military rules, and were created by them to avoid, as I have said, both effort and danger. Thus, they have diminished Italy's reputation and have brought it into slavery. So they exploited the... I don't think I have a good analogy to compare what they did. Well, I guess they just maximize profit. No, yes, that's a good analogy. They maximize profits and reduce costs in a very comparable way, actually, to modern companies, really. To the cost, to the sacrifice of quality of their service. They did everything they could to maximize profits and reduce costs and risks, because the cost is actually their lives. So they wanted to die as least as possible, do as little work as possible for the most amount of money possible. Now, moving on, chapter 13, concerning auxiliaries, mixed armies, and one's own soldiers. Auxiliaries, which are the other kind of most useless soldiers. Oh, I need to cough. Auxiliaries, which are the other kind of most useless soldiers, are employed when a prince calls in other... Wait, what? Oh, sorry. Just some things on my computer there. I have some windows open, I'm watching other people and then I'm like, wait, what's this person? What's happening? God damn, there's so many people online at this time. There we go. Again, auxiliaries, which are the other kind of most useless soldiers, are employed when a prince calls in other forces to aid and defend them, as was done by Pope Julius in most recent times. Pope Julius, having in the attack against Ferrara, had poor results from his mercenaries, turned to auxiliaries and a bargain with Ferdinand, the King of Spain, for assistance with men and soldiers. These soldiers may be useful and good in themselves, but for the person who calls them in, they are always disadvantageous, because by losing, a prince is thoroughly defeated, and by winning, a prince becomes under their control. Although ancient histories may be full of examples, I do not wish to leave this recent one of Pope Julius II, the danger which cannot fail to be perceived. Okay, hang on. What is this? Soldiers may be useful and good in themselves, but for the person who calls them in, they are always disadvantageous, because by losing, a prince is thoroughly defeated, and by winning, a prince becomes under control. Why, though? Why, though? Let's make a... actually, this may be an important quote. Just mark it, then I'll add to my list. Why though? I was expecting him to actually explain why, but he doesn't in the following chapter, at least at the beginning. But anyway, let's just continue. His good fortune brought about a third event, so that he did not suffer the effects of his bad choice. His auxiliaries were thoroughly defeated at Ravenna, and the Swiss unexpectedly arrived and drove the conquerors away. Thus he did not become the prisoner of his enemies. They having been driven away, nor of his auxiliaries, he having conquered by other arms than theirs. The Florentines, being entirely without arms, had sent 10,000 Frenchmen to take Pisa, whereby they ran into more danger than at any other time of their troubles. The Emperor of Constantinople sent 10,000 Turks into Greece to oppose his neighbors. When the war was finished, the Turks were not willing to leave. Thus was the beginning of the slavery of Greece to outsiders. Therefore, let him who has no desire to conquer make use of auxiliaries, because they are much more dangerous than mercenaries. With them, the failure is ready-made. They are all united and all yield obedience to others. But with mercenaries, when they have conquered, more time and better opportunities are needed to injure you. They are not all of one community, they are found and paid by you, and a third party, which you have made their head, not able all at once to assume enough authority to injure you. In conclusion, in mercenaries, cowardice is the biggest danger, in auxiliaries, courage. The wise prince, therefore, has always avoided these types of soldiers and used his own. He has been willing to lose with his own soldiers rather than conquer with others. A real victory is not gained with the arms of others. Okay, what exactly are auxiliaries he's talking about? These are not the auxiliary that I'm talking about. Historically, the designation auxiliary has also been given to foreign or allied troops in the service of a nation at war. The term originated with the Latin eponymous auxilia, relating to non-citizen infantry and cavalry, serving as regular units of the Roman Empire. In the context of colonial troops, locally recruited irregulars are often described as auxiliaries. Kinda. Wait. Start of the 18th century. Italy. Okay, they're foreign troops, foreign allied troops. But since these troops are of the same background, unlike mercenaries, like he was saying, these troops are of the same background. They have unity, and if they decide to fuck you over, they will fuck you over. Like mercenaries, if they decide to fuck you over, they might actually just go into. There's quite a good chance that they'll just go into a civil war and dissipate and dissolve. But with auxiliaries, they work as a unit, and they may be trained. I'm not exactly sure what exactly the meaning of auxiliary he's using in this text. Let me do a quick really. Did I? Wait, what's this? Two topic words families include major heading. Mercenaries with software system. Okay, hang on. Let's start from the beginning. What's the first mention of auxiliary? Well, they are mercenary auxiliaries or mercenaries, and auxiliaries are usually dangerous or peacehold. No, he doesn't mention. He doesn't actually explain in this PDF. What about the other PDF? Can I do a Ctrl F? Auxiliary. For the new prince has his own arms and doesn't rely on mercenary. Okay. Really? Auxiliary arms, which are for the other Euless arms, are those of a power that is called to come with its arms to help and defend you, as was done by Pope Julius. Okay, so in this meaning, his auxiliaries are troops from another country. They are troops from another country that were given to you, like loan, land, lease to you, so you can defend yourself, but they don't belong to you. So they may as well, they may talk to the leader at home, and the leader at home says, yeah, you can fuck over the people the person you're protecting and do whatever you want. So yes, actually unreliable. Obviously unreliable. Because you can always assume someone can fuck you over. Okay, where was I? The Florentines being one entirely without arms. Okay. Therefore, a real victor is not gained with the arms of others. This one is a good quote. Let's just add it to the list. There we go. I shall never hesitate to cite Cesare Borgia in his actions, because you're a fucking fanboy of Cesare Borgia, Niccolò Machiavelli. You're a fucking fanboy. Cesare entered Romania with auxiliaries, taking there only French soldiers, and within he took Imola and Forli. But afterwards, such auxiliary wars not appearing to him to be reliable, he turned to mercenaries seeing less danger in them. So he hired Orsini and Vitelli. Soon after, when he found them unreliable, unfaithful, and dangerous, he destroyed them and used his own men. The difference between one and the other of these forces can be easily seen when one considers the difference there was in the reputation of Cesare. When he had the French, when he had the Orsini and Vitelli, and when he relied on his own soldiers, on whose loyalty he could always count and found ever increasing. He was rated much more highly when everyone saw that he was a complete master of his own forces. I was not intending to go beyond the Italian examples and recent examples, but I am unwilling to leave out Hiero the Syracusan, who I have mentioned before. This man, as I have said, was made head of the army by the Syracusans, soon found out that a mercenary army was of no use. He realized that he could neither keep them nor let them go, so he had them all cut to pieces, and afterwards made war using his own forces and not foreigners. Fucking brutal! He realized that he could not neither keep the mercenary armies nor let them go, so he had them all cut to pieces. Brutal. I also wish to mention an instance from the Bible which is applicable to this subject. David offered himself to Saul to fight Goliath, to give him courage. Saul armed him with some weapons which David rejected as soon as he had them on his back. He said he could make no use of them, and that he wished to meet the enemy with his own simple weapons. In conclusion, the arms of others either fall from your back, or they weigh you down or bind you fast. You know, all this talk about mercenaries, and yes, mercenaries are unreliable. They have no honor, they have no reason to follow on their words. But in my stories, I actually use mercenaries a lot. Because there's actual gods in fantasy, and these gods, if you're a liar, if you go against your promises, you're gonna get smited. You're gonna get smited. Not exactly literally smited, but you're gonna get fucked over. You're gonna get cursed. So, if someone gives their word that they're gonna protect you for money, they're gonna protect you and almost die for money. Like, they're gonna work hard to protect you. They're gonna it's acceptable that they prioritize their own life before yours, but they are unlikely to just leave you hanging. So mercenaries do work to a point in my stories because of this, because their loyalty can be guaranteed through their promises. Unless, of course, they are already cursed. So if you grab some mercenaries who are actually impious, unreligious, yeah, they are basically the same as Earth, real life mercenaries. They're just gonna run. They're just thugs that are gonna run at the first sign of trouble. But if you find someone who's pious and faithful, they're gonna do their best to protect you. They maybe even die for you. Anyway, where were we? We're gonna continue on. Push on the arms of four from your back, or they weigh you down or bind you fast. Yes, this is actually another in conclusion. The arms of others either fall from your back, or they weigh you down or bind you fast. Poetic, really. poetic even. Another quote for the list. Charles VII, the father of King Louis XI, having by good fortune and bravery liberated France from the English, recognized the necessity of being armed with forces of his own. In his kingdom... Is this Morrowind? Yes, it is Morrowind. In his kingdom, he established laws concerning soldiers. Afterwards, his son, King Louis... Oh, but it's actually so low. Afterwards, his son, King Louis, got rid of his own foot soldiers and began to hire the Swiss. Thus mistake, followed by others, is as is now seen a source of danger to that kingdom. Having raised the reputation of the Swiss, he has entirely diminished the value of his own army because he has none of his own foot soldiers at all. And his other soldiers are led by the Swedes. They are so accustomed to fighting beside the Swiss that it does not appear that they can now conquer without them. Hence the French cannot stand against the Swiss, and without the Swiss they do not come off well against others. The armies of the French has thus become mixed, partially mercenary and partially national. These together are much better than mercenaries alone or auxiliaries alone, but are much worse than one's own forces. And as example proves it, for the kingdom of France will be much stronger if the claws of Charles had been strengthened and maintained. Okay, yes, it's kind of funny because they hire the Swiss so much that they can't fight the Swiss. They can't fight without the Swiss, and if they want to fight the Swiss, they're gonna get fucked because the Swiss are gonna betray them. You're making a mixed army is more complex. It's stronger, but it's more complex and harder to actually maintain. So, as always, the best option is always your own army, of your own people. Most people, on beginning a task which looks fine at first, cannot see the poison that is hidden in it. Therefore, if a prince cannot recognize evils until they are upon him, he is not truly wise, and this insight is given to a few. If the fall of the Roman Empire is examined, it will be found to have commenced with the hiring of the gods. Gods! I read gods, no, gods. From that time, the strength of the Roman Empire began to decline, and all the courage which had raised it passed away to others. Okay. Let me just read this. Most people beginning a task which looks fine at first cannot see the poison that is hidden in it. Also another interesting quote, not the best quote ever, but it's an interesting quote, I like it. Not really wise, and the insight is given to few. Okay, now this is a full quote. This is a full quote that sounds nice. Oh, the Roman Empire. Okay. I conclude, therefore, that no principality is secure without having its own forces. In fact, it is entirely dependent on good fortune, not having the courage which it in bad times could defend it. It has always been the opinion and judgment of wise men that nothing can be so uncertain or unstable as reputation or power not founded on its own strength. One's own forces are those which are composed either of subjects, citizens, or dependents. All others are mercenaries or auxiliaries. The way to make one's own forces ready will be easily found if the rules I have suggested are carefully considered, and if one will consider how Philip, the father of Alexander the Great, and many republics and princes have armed and organized themselves. Chapter 14, that which concerns the prince and the subject of the art of war. You know, he may actually shit on mercenaries and auxiliaries like this, but it's not like the end goal is to conquer the world. You gotta accept what you have. You gotta work with what you have, and if all you have are auxiliaries and mercenaries, then you gotta survive. The people who are found themselves into these problems, they're gonna die if they fail. So yeah, sure, do what you can when you can, become a prince, raise your own army. But a lot of the people that he mentioned, they don't start always with their own army. They don't start always with their own best, start at the best with the best that they could get. A lot of the people he mentioned are just commoners. Like, one dude is just a mercenary captain who actually becomes a prince himself, a ruler himself, because he just executes everyone that could oppose him. Or Cesare himself. Cesare used mercenaries, Cesare used auxiliaries. But before he was betrayed and lost, he raised his own army. But without them, he might have actually gone as far as he did if he had only focused on his own troops. But many times, you just need to do what you can with what you have. You gotta improvise. And that's not something that Machiavelli has talked a lot about. For now, at least. We'll see how the later chapters go. Hopefully he'll elaborate a bit more on these moments when you can't rely on, oh Jesus, this is another huge paragraph. Oh God, let's go. That which concerns a prince on the subject of the art of war. A prince ought to have no other aim or thought, nor select anything else for his duty than war and its rules and discipline. This is the sole art that belongs to him who rules, and it's such force that it not only supports those who are born princes. This is too loud! God damn it, why do you keep... What even is this song? 1 hour, let's see. Fable, okay. Thank you, video, for not normalizing the audio levels. I love it. Thank you, I appreciate it. A prince ought to have no other aim or thought, nor select anything else for his study than war and its rules and disciplines. Really? Just war? That feels kinda limiting. This is the sole art that belongs to him who rules, and is of such force that it not only supports those who are born princes, but it often enables men to rise from a private station to that rank. Yeah, he sent a few examples. He already said a few examples of people who were not princes themselves that became princes because they were good at war. He's often saying that when princes have thought more of ease than of arms, they have lost their states. And the first cause of losing it is to neglect this art. What enables a prince to acquire state is to be master of the art. Francesco Sforza, through studying war, rose from being a private citizen to become Duke of Milan, and his sons, through avoiding the hardships and troubles of arms, fell from being dukes to become private citizens. For among other evils which being unarmed brings you, causes you to be despised. This is one of those dangers which a prince ought to guard against. There's a big difference between being armed and being unarmed, and it's not reasonable that an unarmed person should willingly obey an unarmed person. An unarmed man will not be secure among armed servants, because by being unarmed, he will be suspicious of them and they will despise him. So it is not possible for them to work well together. Therefore, a prince who does not understand the art of war, over and above the other disadvantages already mentioned, cannot be respected by his soldiers, nor can he rely on them. He ought never, therefore, to have the subject of war out of his thought, and in peace he should devote himself more to its exercise than in times of war. He can do this in two ways, by action and by study. As regards action, he ought above all things to keep his men well trained and organized, and to carry out extended exercises in the field, by which he accustoms his body to hardships, and learns something of the nature of the land. He gets to find out how the mountains rise, how the valleys open out, how the plains lie, and to understand the nature of rivers and wet areas. Thank you, Thank you, Buckham, for the liking. Okay, hat is off. Watch out for the head pads. Safety is off, and this little doggo is very fertile. Thank you for head patting my ear. Where was I? God damn it! See, the paragraph is so big that I lost where I was. Fuck me. There you go. He gets to find out how the mountains rise, how the valleys open out, how the plains lie, and to understand the nature of rivers and wet areas, and to do all this with careful planning and analysis. This knowledge is useful in two ways. Firstly, he learns to know his country and is better able to undertake its defense. Afterwards, by means of the knowledge and observation of that land, he can easily understand any other which it may be necessary for him to study, because the hills, valleys, and plains and rivers that are, for instance, in Tuscany, have a certain similarity to those of other countries. So, with a knowledge of the aspect of one country, one can easily arrive at the knowledge of others. The prince that lacks the skill lacks the essentials which is desirable that a military leader should possess. Teaches him to surprise his enemy, to select places to camp, to lead armies, to organize the soldiers in a battle, and to besiege towns in the best way. Okay, yes, it makes sense that that in a chaotic and wild era that Machiavelli is, because I think he let me get a map of 500 Europe. In the 500, the emergence of modern Europe, Europe in the years 500, 1500, in the 1500s. Let me see. There's a map over here, I think, from Wikipedia. So let's save this. VTubing. Folder, random stuff. Where's my folder? There you go, here. Oh, I actually love this song. This is a song that inspired me to do a few things. But anyway, it's not here or there. Where is it now? Did I save it? Where the fuck is this image? Where? SFG. Oh, god damn it. Why'd you have to save it on SFG? Fuck. I can't open a SFG. Gonna have to use paint just to... Thanks, Wikipedia. Just to show a map, wasting minutes, wasting precious study minutes. There we go. Fucking. This is the map of Europe at this age. You can see it's fucking messy, especially around Italy. You can see in the what's it called? Oh, France. What is over there actually? Now, what countries are over there? Europe. Swiss? Is that Switzerland over there? Yeah, in the area around Switzerland, you can see how fucking messy that place is. And Italy itself is a messy place. So it makes sense that war is actually the most important part of the training of a prince, because you're gonna be fighting a lot. These are not big, complex countries. There are a bunch of little things over there. Wait. What is exactly the name of the other? Is this? Deutsch Reich. England. Okay, let me... Map of Europe. Come on. Pinterest, I hate you. I hate you, Pinterest. I absolutely despise you. Bologna, France. Is this like the Holy Roman Empire? Or what? I think it is. God damn it, why is there a... Yes, it is, the Holy Roman Empire. It feels like a mess. Yeah, all these things over here, all this Deutsch Reich, these things are of Savoia, Milan, Veneti. This is like this is the Holy Roman Empire. So it's a messy thing. It makes sense that in that time, war was actually the most important thing, but There is relative peace in other periods and other places. So I can't say that that war is the most important thing ever for anyone who's finding themselves in a position of power. Because you're not gonna actually do a lot of war. Not in this way. Not with soldiers like this. Throughout history, you're gonna have a lot more different things, a lot more different varied situations than just straight up war like this. Because if you go to war, you're gonna get someone else is gonna come up from above and look, what the fuck did you do? Why did you kill those people? Your head is going to go to the head block. I'm gonna take off your head. Off with your head, you rebellious idiot. Why did you do that? Because there's always some above. But this is not a general advice. But okay. Was there something else that I wanted to say? The big difference between armed and being unarmed. Yeah, it kind of makes sense that a person without soldiers will be suspicious of the people with soldiers. You can't actually hold. How we're actually going to enforce? How we're actually going to enforce your power? If someone just go, nah. Yeah, the dude has their own soldiers and you have none. How are you actually going to enforce them? You tell him to do something and just goes, nah. You're basically just a prop. You're a fake emperor. You're a fake ruler who can't enforce your own will against others, so. You need your own soldiers to actually rule. Now, I think that's it for this paragraph, for this big ass annoying paragraph. Now, let's go to the next one. Niccolò Machiavelli, Prince of the Achaeans, among other praises which writers have heaped on him. Let me check something. Prince of the Achaeans, among other praises which writers have heaped on him, is especially praised because in times of peace he never had anything in his mind but the rules of war. When he was in the country with friends, he often stopped and reasoned with them. If the enemy were on that hill, and we are here without army, who would have the advantage? How should we best advance to meet the enemy, without breaking ranks? If we should wish to go back, how could we do it? If they run, how ought we pursue them? And he would suggest to them, as he went, all the things that could happen to an army. He would listen to their opinion and state his, confirming it with reason. But that by these continued discussions there could never arise in time of war any unexpected circumstances that he could not deal with. Okay, there was something else that I wanted to talk about this paragraph. I just reminded myself. It was like relating it to my stories. But it kind of skipped my mind now. I spent too much time on the map. So let's just move on to this. Philopoemen, Prince of the Achaeans. Why are they actually Achaeans? I heard this name. Achaeans. Classical area Achaeans. In Greece. Holy shit, when is like 2nd century before Christ. Okay, very old. Especially praised because in times of peace he never had anything in his mind but the rules of war. When he was in the country with friends, he often stopped and reasoned with them. If the enemy were on that hill and we were here with our army, who would have the advantage? Oh, he's on vacation with his friends and he's talking about war with his enemies. Dude's a fucking war nerd. He was an armchair general before armchair generals, but he actually managed to. But he was actually respected for it. Because he likely was called to advise and lead men in times of war. But to exercise his mind, the priest should read histories and study there the actions of great men to see how they have conducted themselves in war. To examine the causes, to examine. English, why must you do this to me?
Examine
the causes of their victories and defeats, so as to avoid the latter and imitate the former. Above all, a priest should do as great men did, to to take as a model one who had been praised and famous before them, which you love, and whose activities and deeds they always kept in mind. Thus, it is said, Alexander the Great imitated Achilles, Caesar imitated Alexander, and Scipio imitated Cyrus. Whoever reads the life of Cyrus, written by Xenophon, will recognize afterwards in the life of Scipio how that imitation was his glory, and how in his behaviors, friendliness, kindness, and generosity, Scipio conformed to those things which have been written of Cyrus by Xenophon. A wise prince ought to observe such rules, and never in peaceful times stand idle. He should actively increase his resources in such a way that they may be available to him in difficult times, so that if fortune changes, you will find him prepared to resist her blows. Okay, never rest on your laurels. That is the summary of this chapter in a nutshell. Never rest on your laurels, always keep preparing and building upon. Chapter 15, concerning things for which men, and especially princes, are praised or blamed. It remains now to see what ought to be the rules of conduct for a prince towards subjects and friends. And as I know that many have written on this point, I expect I shall be considered too bold in mentioning it again, especially as in discussing it I shall not follow the methods of other people. But, it being my intention to write something which shall be useful to him who reads it, it appears to be more appropriate to follow up the real truth of the matter than the imagination of it. Many have imagined republics and principalities, which in fact have never been known or seen. How one actually lives is far distant from how one ought to live. Anyone who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner brings about his ruin rather than his preservation. A man who wishes to act entirely in a virtuous way is soon destroyed among so much that is evil in the world. Okay, I absorbed nothing of this paragraph. I need to reread it. See what ought to be rules of conduct for a prince towards subjects and friends. And as I know that many have written on this point, I expect I shall be considered too bold in mentioning it again, especially as in this position I'll follow the methods of other people, but it being my intention to write something which shall be useful to him who reads it, it appears to me more appropriate to follow up the real truth of the matter than imagination of it. Many have imagined republics and principalities which in fact have never known or seen. How one actually lives is far distant from how one ought to live. How one actually lives is far distant how one ought to live. This is a good quote. This is a good, interesting quote. We never our ideals of how things should go are never how they are in reality. There's always a disconnect. Anyone who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner brings about his ruin rather than his preservation. Anyone who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner brings about his ruin than his preservation. A man who wishes entirely in a virtuous... Oh yes, no, this is a full quote. God damn it. This is a full quote that needs to be. It is very Machiavellian. Very Machiavellian. Or virtues, your virtues, they are nice, but a living through virtue alone will get you destroyed. Living through virtue alone will get you destroyed. Hence, a prince who wishes to survive must know how to do wrong, and how to do or not do wrong according to necessity. Okay, he needs to... A prince... This one is actually in person. He needs to know how to do wrong and how to do or not do wrong according to necessity. That is another important quote. That is another important quote. Therefore, putting on one side imaginary things concerning prince and discussing those which are real, I say that all men, when they are spoken of, and chiefly princes for being more highly placed, are remarkable for some of those qualities which bring them either blame or praise. Thus, one has the reputation of being liberal, another mean. One is said to be generous, one greedy, one cruel, one kind, One disloyal, another faithful. One weak and cowardly, another bold and brave. One friendly, another proud. One pleasure-loving, another restrained. One sincere, another truthful. One hard, another easy. One serious, another foolish. One religious, another believing. And they're like, Jesus Christ. And I know that everyone will confess that he will be the most worthy in a prince to exhibit all the above qualities that are considered good. But because they can neither be entirely possessed nor observed in any one person, for human conditions do not permit it, it is necessary for him to be sufficiently careful, so that he may know how to avoid the criticism of those things considered bad, which will lose him state. God, another yawn. I think the coffee is running out, which is fortunate since we have only 6 minutes left until the stream ends. So that he may know how to avoid the criticism of those he considered bad, which will lose him his state. Also, he should avoid, if it's possible, bad behavior, which will not lose him his state, but if this is not possible, he may, with less hesitation, do it. Moreover, he need not feel uneasy about being criticized for that bad behavior, which is necessary to maintain this state, because if everything is considered carefully, it will be found that something which looks like virtue, if followed, will be his ruin, while something else, which looks wrong, may bring him security and wealth. Okay, I actually like this quote. I might actually do it. Save it in a moment. Therefore, putting on one side imaginary things concerning a prince, the men when they're spoken of, and chiefly princes for being more highly placed, are remarkable for some of those qualities or being either blame or praise. Thus, one has the reputation of being reliable, liberal, another being what? Therefore, putting on one side imaginary things concerning a prince, and discussing those which are real, I say that all men, when they are spoken of, and chiefly princes for being more highly placed, are remarkable for some of those qualities which bring them either blame or praise. What? What is this passage? It's so thick for me. I actually do not understand. And I don't think I need to waste time understanding. Not that everyone confess that I would be most worthy in a prince to exhibit all the above qualities they are considered good, but because they can neither be entirely possessed nor observing any one person, for human condition do not permit it, it is necessary for him to be sufficiently careful so that he may know how to avoid the criticism of those things considered bad which will lose him his state. It is necessary for him to be sufficiently careful that he may know how to avoid the criticism of those things considered bad which will lose him his state. Also, he should avoid, if it is possible, bad behavior which will not lose him his state, but if it is not possible, he may wish, with less hesitation, do it. Also, he should avoid, if it is possible, bad behavior which will not lose him his state, but if it is not possible, he may, with less hesitation, do it. Okay. This one is an interesting passage. Avoid being evil, avoid being bad. But if you can't avoid, bad behavior which will not avoid bad behavior which will not actually make you lose your power. Avoid it. Just avoid it. It is simple. Don't do bad things that will hurt you. That will hurt your power. But if you can't actually avoid this bad behavior, then do it without hesitation. If you're gonna do something bad, do it with certainty. If you're gonna be evil, do it with certainty. I actually like this quote. This is another funny Machiavellian quote. Amusing Machiavellian quote. Amusing Machiavellian quote. Oh shit. Oh, I could add comments, but why not comment? Moreover, he not need feel uneasy about being criticized for their bad behavior, which is necessary to maintain this state. Yeah. If you need to do something bad to keep your power, then don't feel bad about it. These sort of things that break your confidence, avoid them. Do not let your confidence your how else can I phrase this? Be bold. Be brave. Even if you're doing something evil, be bold and be brave. Because you need it to survive. Fuck your morals. Basically, fuck your morals, fuck your conscience. Fuck feeling guilt. Just do it. Just do it. Now, let's just move on. I think that's enough for this part, for this chapter. Wait, what's actually left? Because if everything's considered captive, we found that something which looks like virtue if followed will be his ruin, or something else which is look round may bring him security and wealth. Yeah. As long as, well, you can also need to bring into consideration that things that are bad for your mental health are not good for security and safety. Like if you need to be too evil to maintain your power, then you may actually be hurting yourself more. It may actually hurt less for you to just not do that than do it and become crazy because you're losing your own soul. So this is what I have to add to this passage. Now, chapter 16, concerning generosity and meanness. Commencing then. Oh wait, we're actually at the limit. Time limit. My voice is actually tired. Time limit, 3 hours. My voice is actually starting to become a little bit strained. I can see it in my throat. I'm drinking water, but I can feel it that reading this, talking constantly, consistently, and with a strong voice, this has been draining my health a bit. So, draining my health. Draining my throat just a tiny bit, and since tomorrow and Sunday I also have streams, no reason to push it. You really are freaking nerds, spending 3 hours studying. Hello, thank you, Sir Chabby. Yes, yes, Friday night. Studying Friday night. There's no better day. There's no more fitting day to study on a Friday night. Fuck me. I'm the nerdiest of this fucking place. Though I'm joking, I'm not exactly sad about it. Oh, thank you for the follow, Sir Chabby. You have sold your soul to Grammary. Now she's going to be visiting you after every stream for a bit of life force milking. Don't worry, she has learned how not to over milk people and accidentally kill them. So you'll be safe. Now, holy shit, Severin is doing 7 hours. I'm gonna look for someone to raid. Oh, there's Niue. I don't think I've raided Niue. And there's Scene. I don't think I remember if I raided Scene. Now, who do I choose? Who do I choose? Wait, there's Miku. Milk Wars. She's actually started streaming, Milk Wars. She actually started streaming. I would actually do more than 3 hours if I had the throat for it. Fuck, I pressed the wrong button. Damn it. Running ads. Fuck. Okay. Can I raid while the ads are going? What happens if I raid while the ads are going? And hopefully that the people who are here are... Hold up, 1 second. I hope that the people who are here have... Oh shit. Anyway, I hope that the people who are here have ad blocks. So you can join me in this last minute instead of being tortured by 3 minutes of ads. God damn it. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna raid Miku. I think she's the only one doing something special this time. Oh, there's Ayukumon. I don't think I've raided them before. I think I've seen them stream before, actually. Yes, Miko is doing a debut stream. So I always do priority for people who are doing special events and things. She's playing VTuber Simulator. What is that actually? Oh, it's gonna be just one of those weird ass games, most certainly. Okay, 2 more minutes to fill up. Oh, I need to save this actually. I need to save this. Can you guys see this? No, this window doesn't show. Okay, I'm not accidentally doxing myself. What song is this? I like it. Xenogears? 129. Boy and His Blob, Subterra. No, Xenoblade Courage. Xenoblade Chronicles, Sator the Shimmering Marsh, okay. Ah, shit. 40 seconds event. I'm actually tired because of how long this takes, but I guess this PDF we have like math. What is math? 25 minus 43. I am too lazy to do math. I have a degree, but I'm too lazy to do it on my head. We have 18 pages left, maybe 1 or 2 streams. This is actually gonna take a... I wanna get over with this book. I need to be faster, but I get stuck on passages because I like to analyze them, every word, and try to make my own understanding of things. So even when I'm trying to be... Yeah, I didn't actually try to read fast. I did not actually try to read that fast this time. Okay, ads are done. I think I will do another study stream next Friday. I'm thinking about changing the date though. Who's actually gonna be this crazy enough to actually watch a study stream on a Friday night? Like, fuck me. Why did I choose this day? Why did I choose this day? Anyway, tomorrow, same time, gonna start same start, gonna have Slave Zero for stream, and then Sunday midday Eastern US. It's gonna be a collab, another collab with Lapis, gonna play Try and Chew. And then next week, I think I'll have a collab with Bunko. Thursday. Tuesday, I think it's gonna be another normal game. I'm gonna have to be quiet. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to stream for hours next Tuesday. I'm gonna have visitors with children, and they're gonna be sleeping early, so not sure how it's gonna go, really. It's only by Thursday that they leave, so even Wednesday I might not have another RAR stream. But that's pretty much it. Take care of your waifus, take care of your husbandos. My voice is tired and I want to finish this. And I want to rest, because I am a fucking nerd. And I actually study and try to pay attention to this and learn. And I had enough of it for now. See you all next time. Bye bye.